gang? Larry Vickers here, SHOT Show 2018. I got my buddy Jonathan Babb, Sienna Armory. He's come up to my room. He's going to take me through how to set up for EForms online with ATF, right? Or NFA branch.
So NFA branch, a derivative of ATF. EForms is basically the best tool that you can have as an NFA dealer, as a Class 3 dealer. A lot of times when guys like myself, guys like you, want to receive or sell an NFA weapon, every time we have to do a Form 3, Form 5. So the paper forms usually take about 30 days. EForms is probably the best tool that we can have, because with what's happening nowadays is we can do one of these EForms and it takes roughly 12 hours to process. So you buy a machine gun from me, you buy a silencer from me, any NFA item, I process the EForm to go into your inventory, and you're looking usually the same day most times, roughly within 24 hours, we've got an approved form and I can get it out the door to you.
Cool.
So it is a very quick system. It's, in my opinion, very underutilized by NFA dealers, and I've got a lot of customers and clients that I've helped get set up with EForms, and it becomes this huge tool for them that they just never knew how they lived without as an NFA dealer.
Well, and the process of this video is have something you can send to people and go, hey man, watch this video. It'll take you through the process.
Exactly.
Kind of step by step. Now, a little history on this. ATF had this thing a few years ago, and it went like down in one day, right?
Correct. So the servers weren't really engineered to support the traffic that they figured they would get. The problem was that a lot of dealers were trying to utilize this system. The system got flooded, it crashed, it actually went down in about 2014 or so, and it didn't pop back up for another 2 years. So it has been revamped, so it is a bit better these days. I use it almost daily as a tool. I can transfer silencers out on it, I can transfer machine guns out on it.
And you can see your inventory. You can see
Exactly.
what ATF has for you in inventory, and you just do your inventory list.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can go into EForms. You can see everything that you have, silencers, short-barreled rifles, machine guns, everything in your inventory, and from that you can transfer those items over to other dealers that you sell things to, and it's a very quick and easy system.
So he's going to take me through the process to get this going. It takes a couple days, 2 or 3 days to get approved, right?
So you have to apply as an SOT dealer. You put in your FFL number, your EIN number, you apply to NFA, and it roughly takes about 2 or 3 days, and they will approve you in the system. And after you're approved, you can begin to do transfers. Once you are logged in, though, and once you are set up, you can go in and look at your inventory. You can go in and kind of feel your way around the system.
Cool.
But I'm going to get you set up.
Right.
And then since I'm already set up, I'm going to take you
bounce
into,
over as if, right, and then you take them through, okay, now you've been approved, this is what you're looking at.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Stay tuned. All right, so Jonathan, this is where we start.
Correct. So this is atfonline.gov. This is kind of the parent website of everything. So you're going to go here and you're going to click on EForms, and this is going to take you to the registration site. You're going to have this green button down here for register. So that's pretty self-explanatory. So that'll take you to this site where everything's going to be pretty self-explanatory for you to plug in all your information and move forward from there. So you should get an email on your personal email.
Got it.
So if you want to pull that up, so now it will redirect to log in. So we'll go click here to log in, and then you're going to get this. This is called the standard warning banner. So you'll get this, and this is just saying, hey, you're on a government website, you're accessing this information. It might be sensitive. You understand the risks involved. Okay, no problem. So this is a really interesting page, and this is where it kind of starts to get confusing, because you've got a lot of information going on here. This is a very busy page. Once you're registered, you're going to have things over here. You're going to have forms that have been submitted. You're going to have forms that have been approved, populate over here. You're going to have your profile pop up here. But mainly the big thing is going to be this kind of Rolodex. So what you'll notice is, like, here's your Form 6s for things like imports, Form 6A. Form 2, that's for manufacturers. There's your Form 3. This is what I use the most. So let's say Larry buys a silencer, a machine gun, or short-barreled rifle from me, or I buy from him. You're going to click on this and you're going to follow the prompts there, but we'll get to that later. Form 5 for law enforcement, and then you have several other forms to use. The only real forms that aren't on here anymore are going to be a Form 1 and a Form 4 due to the 41F issues that they're facing now, there's really not any ability for them to put these on EForms because of what's required.
Got it.
So the big thing here, once you initially get in there, you're going to go to My Profile and get set up on here. So this is the next step for new registered users. So it will reflect
everything you put in.
Yep. So it'll reflect all that stuff. So you'll have the ability to go on here and say, okay, I want to change my password, security question, things like that. You know, here's what I want to do for my new password. Here's what I want to do for my security question. Here's the big thing you got to do. So when you get to this point, this button here, this tab, FFL AECA EIN Access. So this is going to be the big thing for FFL SOTs that want to get registered. So click on that, and this is going to bring you to the EIN Access page. So you've got a button right here that says Request Access. So you're going to click on that guy. Mm-hmm. So Larry's going to plug in his FFL, his first three last five. He's going to plug in his EIN, which is his SOT number. You're going to skip FFL SOTs. You're going to skip this AECA information. They don't need that. The big thing for dealers, when you get down here, you're going to go to Requested Role, and you're going to access as a super user.
Okay.
So what super user allows you to do is everything. You, as a super user, you can submit forms, you can check inventory, you can go in there and you can look at forms that have been submitted, disapproved, everything. So that gives you full access. So Larry's going to go ahead and plug in his information here, and we're going to move forward from there.
Okay.
And then request access. So access has been received and is currently pending as a prompt you'll get. You should get an email any minute now.
Okay.
So what I'm going to take y'all through now is, because this takes 2 to 3 days for an approval, I'm going to run Larry through what to expect. It's really awesome what you can see here on your EForms once you are approved, once you are a super user. So I'm going to run Larry through here on my eForm account, what to expect once you're logged in and how easy it is to submit forms. So this is going to be the main working page. So if you see over here, I've got several options. I've got abandoned, approved, disapproved, return without action, submitted, and in process. So any forms that you currently have pending via eForms that you've submitted, you can even check and see some of the forms. They don't scan in here, but like, for example, I can go over here and I can click this drop down for approved. So these are forms that have been approved in the past for me or recently.
Last 90 days or so?
I believe it's in the last, yeah. So you see I've got all these options, 3s, 4s, 5s. And these are actually Form 4s that I submitted years ago that are still in this system for customers. So let's say like a Form 3. Let's say I want to check one of my Form 3s that got approved recently. And so it'll populate, this little window down here is where you'll see it populate. There you go. So you see this is a bunch. So this is a lot of Form 3s to other dealers that I've done over the past.
See, from July, it was from July on, right?
Yeah,
no, actually
so,
it's past that.
Yeah, so this is, it goes most, so like here's one from 1/4. And that was my most recent one. I submitted on 1/4. And if you can see here too, what's really cool, that's the day I submitted was 1/4, the approved date was 1/5. Mm-hmm. So that's how quick you can expect these eForms to work with an approval system. Yeah.
There's 10/15 submitted and 10/16 approved.
Exactly.
Holy cow.
So what I noticed is NFA specifically really started getting on eForms because they saw it as a really good tool as well. But I can go back in my inventory or my approved forms and I can look at where they started to really hit it hard. So like right here, submitted 6/9, approved 7/9, so 30 days. So not bad. Let's move ahead a bit. Okay, now we're down to less than 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Move ahead a bit more. Now we're down to a week. There's 10 days. And it just gets better and better. So we're down to, in some cases, 12 to 36 hours.
Okay.
So
let me jump in here a question.
Sure.
Demo letters.
Demo letters.
So I got to, filling out a Form 3 or whatever is one thing, but now how do you get the demo letter up there?
So that's actually built into the process, and I'll run you through that here. So let's say that I want to go ahead and I want to transfer you a machine gun. So of course it's going from dealer to dealer, so it's going to be on a Form 3. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to open your Form 3. So once you get into your Form 3 system, this is where you start. And NFA calls these little guys train stops. And it's just, you have to do one after another. You can click on them independently, but it's best if you just go next and just go one at a time. So what it's going to do first is say, here is how this form is used, which as we know, Form 3 is dealer to dealer. So, okay, next. Application. So what you'll do here is, obviously you know who you are, select licensee, this is pertaining to you. So I'll click that drop down, and the only option is going to be you as a dealer unless you have multiple FFL, multiple EINs, things like that. So I'm going to select myself, and it's going to autofill everything, my EIN, FFL, what type I am. Now right here, internal control number, if you have internal control numbers for transfers you're doing, that's where you'll enter that. So that's not necessary, that's not required, this is. You have to select that before you can move forward. So we'll click next. All right, so this is all the transferor information. This is, once again, me. This is the guy who's gonna be transferring out the NFA item. And I generally hit this when I'm doing a transfer, be like, okay, everything's in order, everything looks good. So I'll go next. So this is the transferee information. This is who you are going to be selling that item to. So here's the really cool thing about that. So like on, as you know, on like paper forms, this is what I've run into a lot. One of the biggest problems I've had is when a dealer is doing the paper form to me, or if I'm doing the paper form to him sometimes, if you're one number off on that FFL or EIN number, ATF will kick it back.
Oh,
and they want you to fix it. In a lot of cases, they'll kick it back, return without action. You have to start the 30-day process over. It's a real pain. So this is what's so great about this system. So like, go ahead and let's plug in your FFL number, Larry. Let's think about all this. So we've got all that information plugged in. Click retrieve license. Now what I usually do, I go up to my drop down, and because I buy and sell a lot of machine guns, of course I'm going to be dealing in a machine gun. So click on machine guns, and it's going to only sort the machine gun. So then what I'll do is I'll click on model, and it'll sort them alphabetically. Easier to find them numerically than alphabetically. So I can go through my entire inventory. I can even search. If I go up to manufacturer, type in, Heckler & Koch, if I know it's a certain serial number, I can search it that way. If it's a certain model. But I can go down this entire list and say, okay, what was that gun that Larry, oh yeah, it was this.
Yeah.
Like that Galil AR, right?
Yeah, little jab there from John.
But you can look through your entire inventory here, see everything you have. You see, the cool thing about this too is you don't even have to be doing a form. You don't even have to be doing a transfer. I go in here all the time, I select my FFL, and then I jump over to line item. And you can see the day that NFA approves a firearm, you can see it in your inventory immediately. You're usually the first person to know. And if it was done on an EForm, you'll know, and the guy who's selling it to you or the guy that's transferring it to you will get the email notification. So you've got your entire inventory there. You can go up here to machine guns, drop down. Oh, I want to look at all the silencers I've got in inventory. There's all my silencers, and they're arranged. So let's say I want to do a transfer. Let's say I want to do a machine gun to Larry. So we'll pick out something like, go ahead and just name something off the top of your head.
Oh, how about one of my favorite companies, Ruger? I see Sturm Ruger up there.
Sturm Ruger.
Of course, I'm being facetious there. No, one of my favorite companies.
So there you go. So there's an AC556 I've got in my inventory. So we'll go ahead and click OK. All right. So you click OK. Now the cool thing about this is it's on there. But you don't have to just do a form for that. I can go back in here and say, oh, Larry wanted to buy 3 machine guns from me. He wanted to buy 2 machine guns from me. Or he wanted to buy a silencer from me and a machine gun, or he wanted to buy multiple items. I can go back in here and I can say, okay, he wanted this. Like, he wanted this. Go ahead and pick another one.
Like a Polish PPSH 41.
Oh, yeah. And there's going to be glitches in here, so sometimes it does repeat some items. Sometimes you'll see multiples of the same gun, same serial number, things like that. And they
just pick one.
All right. Oh, do I get your PPSH in there? There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
So we'll click OK for that one. So now you've got 2 machine guns in there. It's filled. And you can always, if you make a mistake, you go here and you can X one out and it'll take it off. So it will let you know. So one of those is a transferable, one of those is a post-sample machine gun. So it will give you this warning at the bottom: a post-1986 machine gun has been selected for transfer. In order to electronically submit this application, one of the following documents must be added, namely LE request for machine gun demonstration or an approved transfer variance. So a lot of us who deal in post-86 machine guns, we have letters we get from sheriffs and chiefs, and that's what this is requesting, an LE request letter for machine gun demonstration. An approved transfer variance would be like if I'm going out of business, giving up my SOT, and I need to let NFA know, hey, I'm transferring these posties without a law letter. That would be an approved transfer variance. So we'll move on to the next train stop here, electronic documents. So you'll go up here, choose file. That's going to be where you actually, you're pertaining to your question earlier, select your demo letter. So you'll usually have your demo letter as a PDF file, and it'll take you to your desktop. You'll upload it from there. Document type, LE request letter for machine gun demonstration. And usually what I'll do for the description, it's not necessary, but I'll usually type in the same title as the letter. So like, law letter request for PPSH 41, or such and such police department letter request for this specific model. You'll click add, and that will actually add all that to this area. You'll see it populating here, and then you'll click next. And it's not going to show that mine's, it's going to kind of give me a red light because there's no demo letter to upload. So if there was a demo letter present, if everything was all good to go, this would be a green box. It's going to give you a check and say your application has been validated successfully. So from there, you will click this box, and then you'll click sign and submit. And once you click sign and submit, you're going to get a pop-up that asks you for your password again. You'll type in your password and click sign and submit, and it will actually go pending. Once it goes pending, you'll get an email notification that it has been received by ATF and is pending. And generally, like I said, this takes about 12 hours. Once it's approved, they'll actually email you the approved form. You can print out the form. You can email it to the transferee. Say, you know, instead of having to have a hard copy of something that you ship with the gun, print it out. Say, here's your EForm 3. It's all good to go. Your gun's going to be shipped in the next couple of days. Very, very simple system. So what you can do from there, as I was showing earlier, you can go click go home, and it'll take you back to that main page. It's going to ask you, do you want to save this form? No. So we're just messing around. One of the other great things about EForms is if it's submitted and you realized, oh, we made a mistake, or if there's a problem with the dealer you're selling it to, and for some reason you have to cancel the transaction, you simply click that X, and it denies it shuts everything down. I've tried it before with another dealer just to see how the system works. He had a machine gun pinning to me, and we shut it down. Click the withdrawal form, with the withdrawal icon, and it actually pulled the form, and it immediately repopulated the gun in his system. So it's a really cool option you have there in case there's a problem. You don't have to go through ATF and say, hey, I need to redact that form. But if you just want to like show your dealer, like, you know, because there's a lot of guys in this industry that say, hey, can you send me a copy of the form just to make sure everything's good to go? Click on View Form, and it's going to take you back to a familiar page that's slightly different, and I'll navigate you through that. But like, click on View Form, which is that little eyeball icon. So if you go ahead and click on that, most computers like mine will actually automatically start a download of a PDF file. But if you open that PDF file, you'll see that it is the auto-filled EForm 3 that has been submitted to NFA for processing. And what I usually do after I process an EForm 3 is I pull this page, I'll start taking a look at the transferor and transferee information, make sure everything looks appropriate, make sure everything looks good and everything's correct. Go down to the firearm information, make sure all that's good, make sure that there's no mistakes that I've made on here, make sure everything's auto-filled correctly. And
from there, you can save this form. You can email it as a PDF file to the transferee who you sold this firearm to, who you sold the silencer to, what have you, and just go from there.
Good. Hey, bro, thanks for talking me through it.
Thanks for having me, sir.
I appreciate it. And now that you're right, now that I've seen it, it's the only way to fly, to do these transfers.
I agree. It's all I use unless there's a circumstance where I can't use it, but that's getting fewer and fewer these days. But it's an absolute necessity. If you're going to be an NFA dealer and do even silencer transfers, machine gun transfers, anything NFA related, this is absolutely a huge help to anyone's business. It speeds up the process greatly.
Cool.
And I would recommend anyone in this industry get on this system.
And remember, he offered his assistance, so if you're watching this and you want some pointers or whatever, you can reach out to him. Sienna Armory. How do they get a hold of you?
That's going to be Sienna Armory, SIENNA, Armory, @gmail.com. Feel free to shoot me an email. Feel free to look me up on Facebook. Give me a holler. I'll be happy to get you rolling. I've done this for plenty of other NFA dealers. I have no problem helping them get set up because it helps the whole industry.
Good deal. Have a good one. Have a good one, brother. Good to see you here at
Thanks,
SHOT
sir.
Show 2018. LAB out.